It's been 5 years since Bird Box hit Netflix back in 2018. This movie took the world by storm, not only because a lot of people were adamant that this film is a ripoff of The Quiet Place, it is based on a book, but it was also a huge hit for Netflix, having some huge name actors such as John Malkovich, Sandra Bullock, Sarah Paulson, all straight to streaming. The movie also inspired a lot of trends. They speak for themselves, we'll let them do that. But 5 years later, we finally have a sequel to the original, and this one is set in a different place. It's set in Barcelona. Even though this one is centered around a different group of people, it still abides by the same laws of the original Bird Box universe. So if you want a recap of the first one and you don't have time to sit through the 2-hour movie again, I've done a recap video for you and I'll leave that down in the description below. Bird Box Barcelona takes place after a mysterious force decimates the world population by causing all who see it to take their lives. Now we follow Sebastian and his younger daughter Anna, who must navigate their own journey of survival through the desolate streets of Barcelona, forming alliances with other survivors they meet along the way. But who can they really trust? I'm excited. I actually really liked the first Bird Box, and rewatching it, I love it. I'm really into this whole narrative, and it's been a while since we've had like a sensory horror, so I'm really keen to revisit this world. It also has a really good cast, including Georgina Campbell, who you guys would know from Barbarian. It's just hit Netflix, so come check it out with me. We'll figure out whether it's worth your time, and if you want to watch along, please do, and we can talk about our thoughts afterwards. Let's go check out what's happening in the world of Bird Box, in the universe, in the Bird Box universe. Let's go. Unfortunately, Gromit can't jump up on the couch with us just yet, but he is watching from over on the mattress on the floor. If you know, you know. So he is here, but he's just not jumping up on the couch today. Hopefully he's exciting enough to entertain him, but he has pretty high standards. Anyway, let's go. It's just hit Netflix right now. I'm very excited. Let's check out Bird Box Barcelona. Pause now if you're watching along with me. Well, that was unexpected. In both a good and a bad way. Which is so sad to say, but I think that this will suit a particular type of audience really well. I just don't know if it will suit what I'm kind of into. The film was very different, but follows the same formula, which I think is fantastic, and I'm all for sequels, spin-offs, even remakes that do this, and I think it's very interesting what it does. I'm not gonna, obviously, it's a spoiler-free little review reaction we're doing here. We're chilling, we're doing it spoiler-free, but I have to say, this has like a very interesting shift in it that I wasn't expecting, and I think is quite clever, and I applaud it for that. It's the same kind of journey aspect, you know, it's survivors going on a journey to get to a certain destination, but there's definitely like a little bit of a twisty thing in it, and I really enjoyed it. And don't worry, it's not something that you're gonna like guess all the way through. It's something that is really revealed quite early on, that there's like a shift in it. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But as this film went on, it became almost like it was introducing too much to the universe to take a grasp of. And what's really cool about the original Bird Box is it's such a simple story that's really told in a poetic fashion, where it's going back and forth between timelines, and it goes back, and you know, you learn about who she is, Sandra Bullock's character, and her coming to terms with her pregnancy and all of that kind of stuff. This film tries to focus on too many different characters and too many ideas of letting go to what was and all that kind of stuff, where it just becomes a little bit messy in the middle, and tied that in with a lot of added lore. So, in saying all of that, this film is about a father and daughter who meet a bunch of survivors, and they are on a mission to get to this place on top of a mountain. It's a very convoluted story, so that's like the rundown, but it's set in Barcelona, and the reasons you would have probably seen the trailer has different languages, people speaking different languages, is because there's people from everywhere. There's like a little girl from Germany, people from Barcelona, there's an English tourist, I believe that's what she is. But yeah, they all come together and they're all working together for a common cause. What I like about, I guess, any post-apocalyptic, especially like sensory horror, is the idea of them finding technology aids that will get them through. And in this one, they do a couple of different things. They also utilize animals in a very interesting way. And I always think that's really fun, including the goggles in this one. It's just like a cool different aspect to add into the equation. And I also think it's really interesting having it as a very blatant universal European edition, because when you think about it, it's kind of genius, because there could be a Bird Box everywhere. We could have a Bird Box Australia, Bird Box New Zealand. You could have Bird Box everything. But what detracts from it is the added lore in this film. This film, what I didn't really enjoy about it is I really enjoyed the initial concept. I thought it was really clever. The little, little shift in it, and what felt like it started off simple, it just branches out and it introduces and tries to build onto the backstory of everything to do with this universe, which of course I was hoping that we would learn more. And I really do think you have to see the first Bird Box to even understand what's going on, even though it does have the same formula, as in you're following a guy after the fact of everything that's happened, and then you go back to the start and see how he got into the situation. I wasn't sure if it was just going to take place post-apocalyptic, as in after it had happened, but now we're years after the first Bird Box, if it's meant to be in like 2022 or 2023, but it does go back and it shows, how it swept there in Barcelona and how they reacted as, people living there. So it is kind of the same formula where it goes back and forth through timelines, not as much, and it doesn't play on that, where I feel like the original Bird Box really relies on those timelines for it to become this poetic full circle story, especially with her and the children that you see at the start. But this one, it just really takes that lore and builds on it and adds a lot of fantasy. I mean, you could say sci-fi. I guess this is technically like a sci-fi thriller horror. And I just found it to be a little bit more fantastical. Some people really like that thing, but it's not really my thing. And I think that what I liked about the initial concept was it was so dark and disturbing, but it was kind of like left up to your imagination. And I do toy a lot with wanting to know lore, but then when I know too much, like running and screaming, I totally take the blame for that. Make it good lore, I don't want to know about it. It is hard, I get it. It's hard to toe the line. And when you have a sequel or a spin-off sequel, whatever you want to call it, it's bound to add more to the lore, and it did. And I don't know if I liked what I saw. In saying that, this film, what I really liked about it, not only in the initial concept, which I thought was really smart, but it is a lot darker and it's a lot grislier, and you hear about these like intense stories, and you see these inferred kills, and it is like intense and dark from the start, just a little bit more depressing, I would say, than the original, and a little bit more dark, especially because there's so many characters involved. It is like an emotional journey, just like the first one, but that emotion didn't take hold of me as much as it did in the first one. This one, it was more dark and gritty and trying to understand the psychology of it, which I thought was really interesting. I guess also we want to talk about cinematography. There's a lot of vast, wide shots, and in the action sequences, like they utilize a lot of equipment. There's a lot of explosions. There's a lot of crashes. It really does go all out. I wouldn't say anything else is very spectacular or really stands out to me. A lot of the shots were during the day, which I thought were really interesting. I don't think it's as good looking as the original. I keep saying this, I'm so sorry, but I really don't, because you had like that kind of beautiful nature appeal to it, where they were going down the lake and it was all like foggy. In this one, it's in the city. There's some really cool stairwell shots, I'll give you that. But other than that, I don't think anything was too spectacular about that. Although when the entities came near, we kind of saw that in the first one, where, someone took their blindfold off or whatever, this kind of like leaves raising up, suspending in the air. And in this one, they really focus on that idea to show what's happening. So I kind of enjoyed that, and getting to see that in more detail, but it was definitely during broad daylight. So as many people telling me not to watch horrors during the day, this movie takes place primarily during the day. I feel like in comparison, I am going to keep comparing them, to the first Bird Box. This one was more action-packed. It was more action sequences, where the other one is definitely a little bit more like drama felt and about relationships between the people. Although they kind of towed the line of that, they really went down, let's really think about the lore and go straight into it, and really pull out some intense moments on these journeys. So it felt like an action-packed journey with fantastical lore. But I felt like by the end of it, I was scratching my head with too many more questions than answers, and the answers that I did get are answers I didn't want. yeah, I don't know. I really liked the start of it. I just wish they kept it a little bit more simple. And since the first formula like worked so well, don't get me wrong, I liked the little spin on it. I thought the spin on it was perfect, but they should have just stuck with that spin and just kept it throughout, because what they had was such a cool idea, and I felt like they would try to maybe tick too many boxes as like a spin-off sequel, and the film kind of sets it up for more to come. So I think if you like Bird Box the original, this one is more fantastical, as I keep saying, and has more action. But it does add a lot more lore to the story. So I do think it's a must watch for people who liked the original and want to keep going with this universe. Especially if you're not feeling some of the scenes, they're a little bit cheesy, they're a little bit over the top. Wait till the end, because I just think it's an important, I don't know, chapter, hopefully, if it doesn't get cancelled in this franchise. But did I love it? No. At the start of the film, I'm like, man, this is an 8. Then it went down progressively. And I just, yeah. Damn it. I'm gonna give this film a 6 out of 10. It's not like I hated it. I just really saw a lot of potential in the start, and then it just kind of fizzled out really quickly for me. And they added in all elements that personally, because it's my personal score, that personally I don't love. For originality, I am going to give it, it's hard because you know what? It is an original concept. I guess I still have to give it a 7. I think it's still an original concept. I know a lot of people say it's like The Quiet Place. It is not. And this film kind of proves that, to be fair. And for scare, I was definitely taken out. And I guess because a lot of it wasn't during nighttime scenes as well, it wasn't as scary as the ones prior. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but I think this one belongs maybe like a 4. Anyway, that is just my opinion. You go out and you watch. You go forth. Are you going to watch Bird Box? Have you watched Bird Box Barcelona? Let me know down below what your score is. I would love to know. And let me know what you liked about it and what you didn't like about it. I love reading your comments. I love getting to know what you guys like in horror. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends. Oh, and if you're wondering, yeah, Gromit did fall asleep.